actually, it was Stefan Grappelli that got me interested in Venuti, because I don't know, I think I was in New York sometime in the mid-70s, and I went to Sam Goody, which was the only place to go for records, and I found these two albums where Grappelli recorded with Yehudi Menuhin, the classical violinist, was a prodigy. When Menuhin was 4 years old and his parents took him to the San Francisco Symphony, I said, I want to play the violin. But anyway, so it was because of knowing Menuhin, and I wanted to get into playing jazz. And so I started listening to Grappelli, and then I discovered Venuti, and whose tone is not nearly as good. I attribute it to that, since with all of the pranks that Venuti would play, he didn't use the best violins, because sometimes he would crack them over somebody's head in the orchestra. But it's very eloquent playing. When I finally was with YouTube, finally be able to watch some videos of him, could see what was important to me is how he held the bow, and so that when I used to teach violin, and you get these students and they're holding the bows in, I wanted to change the way they hold the bow, and then that's like setting somebody on fire. They don't want to change. But when you learn that this is, physically the most efficient way to get various kinds of sounds out of the violin. So I was watching Venuti's bow, and he's very, very classically trained, and perfect when he wants to be. He's perfectly, he's not doing this, which they call hooking the bow, and then he's doing everything just perfectly classically, and then I just enjoyed his sense of humor in his playing too.
Well, something told me, Todd, that you would enjoy Venuti's sense of humor. I don't know why that would be, but it just came to me.
I mean, the one story about putting I don't know how much flour he put in the tuba player's tuba during a rehearsal, and then the tuba player goes, and a puff of smoke comes. I mean, but this is also the stories about him throwing some little piano out of a window just to hear what note it would play when it hit the ground.
Jeez.
In fact, he did it more than once.
Aren't you mixing him up with Keith Moon?
Right. All right. So I've never operated your turntable.
Oh, well, Andy can help since he's right there.
Okay, first we say a little prayer together.
Good to see you.
We said, do we have a baruch for the turntable?
So this goes Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Say in the Muslim world. Okay, so we turn it on.
You got your usual lift.
Yeah.
Michael, don't you want to sit in the chair?
Recently,
She likes your crotch.
recently adjusted
She
lift.
likes to tuck between the crotch. It's just
There's a little space.
between your legs. Yeah, that's what it is. See, I see things.
Yeah, take.
There's that way.
It's just, we happen to be short, but.
I'm not putting a dime on the tone arm.
Next to it.
You want to follow Dinah on the screen? Some of them do and some of them don't. This is a very dumbed down version.
What key is it in? What key?
A flat.
Play an A. We play an A flat. No, we played an D. There's your first. I'm listening to the fiddle behind you.
Whose record is this? We sound really good with this laptop.
Oh, that's great.
All right, Joe Benuti.
Real
Dinah.
simple.
Okay, so that one was recorded in 1928. And we're gonna have a real treat for you, because in 1928, evidently Joe Venuti went to Europe and met in Paris with Stefan Grappelli. And so we're gonna have, Todd, when do you think the Grappelli and Django disc was recorded? About 32?
34 is, I think, when they started.
Okay, 34. I think it's one of the first ones. So, and Grappelli was very impressed by Venuti. So a lot of what he wanted to put on record, he was pulling from learning from Venuti. So this is Dinah by the quintet.
The Quintet of the Hot Club of France.
This will be done faster.
That sounded really good, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly good. And when, you thought it was 33?
That one?
Yeah,
That's 28.
28.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was that?
Django Reinhardt.
Oh. That's fine.
I'm gonna have to stop it to find out, but yeah, I think I played the wrong song.
We'll find out when you're done.
Yeah.
Let's just listen.
She wants to listen. We'll hear them both.
Is this Dinah?
This is
It's
Dinah.
Dinah.
This is Dinah.
Just at the beginning, it sounded like Lady Be Good.
Yeah. We'll see what it says.
Notes.
you hear him playing way up on the E string a lot, and that's I think I attribute that to Venuti's influence.
Unless it was mislabeled. I played Dinah.
No, that was
No,
fine.
that was
Okay.
What's on the other side? Just
Lady
let-
Be Good.
Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead and play those.
You want to hear Lady Be Good?
Well,
might as
that
well.
was Lady Be Good we heard.
No, that
No,
was
that
Dinah.
was
Fine.
That was Dinah?
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I mean,
That really was Dinah?
that's
Yeah.
what it says.
So let's hear what Lady Be Good sounds like.
Yeah.
Maybe it sounds like Dinah.
Maybe Lady Be Good. Well, I mean,
I don't think so.
you think you would have known by now if the labels were mixed up. And I've got LPs that have like the wrong
Yeah.
labels
I've
on
seen
them,
it.
so it's not impossible, but
That sounds like.
it wasn't my fault.
No, I could tell. Chord progression on this.
You can answer that question.
They deviate from the melody.
I was on eBay and that's what they can, oh, it's a
That's Lady.
Yeah.
no, they couldn't care less.
And Jingo is just toying with it, you know.
It's only using one finger. He's only using one finger.
See, now that the bass is not so boomy.
I was wondering whose idea was the ending, you know.
Different.
That's pretty. And for those of you who are obsessive record collectors, that is actually on a pretty rare label,
I was about to ask where
this is the
from.
British.
Okay, you know.
British Oriole, that you don't see. They were only in business
I've
for,
got one or two of these, but you don't see them very much.
yeah. And they picked up some American masters, but a lot of the stuff was coming out of Europe, so they were just re-releasing it.
So just to be clear, that was Stefan Grappelli, right?
Yes.
And it,
Hello. Yeah.
I think after a number of years, he stopped imitating what Venuti was doing. A lot of what he's doing was playing really up high on the E string, and then he has this expression, yeah da 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 da, yeah da 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 da, that I always hear in Venuti. That's Richard. When I told you when I first heard this Katie Glassman. I'm going, oh my God, she's learned all the Joe Venuti licks.
And that was a fun album to listen to. Yeah, thank you.
Has anybody else ever had this LP that came out in the 70s? I was in high school when it came out, and I got it because it was like a recomp of Jelly Roll Morton tunes played by a modern orchestra, and Joe Venuti was on the record. You know what I'm talking about?
And what I have from the Venuti from the mid-70s is he recorded an album with Jethro Burns and Curly Chalker and Eldon Shamblin called Four Giants of Swing.
Shamblin was Western swing, right?
Okay, this is, I'm playing for Richard Himes, because he got intrigued when I told him that Barnacle Bill's Sailor is a dirty record.
I'm sorry, it's
And
very,
you
it's
just have to
very
say that,
childish.
and Richard gets really excited about
It's
this.
one of my favorite memories of childhood is singing risque lyrics about Barnacle Bill with the other little boys in my neighborhood.
Well, that explains the song, because it started out truly as a bawdy sea chanty.
Yeah.
Carson Robeson cleaned up the lyrics so they could go in the studio, and there's some debate whether they knew they were doing this cut for posterity or they were just practicing. Some evidently thought, we didn't mean for that to get out, but some way the studio engineers didn't pick up on it and they let it get out. And for those of you who want to know and listen carefully, I think it's the second verse where they have Venuti and two others singing, and Barnacle Bill, the Sailor.
Right.
He changed the words a little bit to Barnacle Bill, the shed head. So you can, try to pick up on that if you want to. But it's a great record. I mean, it really is.
I don't think Joe plays any violin on
John
it, but
Colts told me about
he does sing
Venuti doesn't play
the
violin?
Barnacle Bill parts.
Well, that's enough. I mean,
Close enough.
In this case, it really is.
but that's the thing about Venuti. He played on so many, but a lot of times he's just in the background, and with a lot of horns, you don't always hear.
Yeah,
It's why those Venuti 4 records like you played, that you just hear him out front, but a lot of times his stuff gets buried.
Yeah.
But he's on tons of records.
I remember some of those dirty lyrics, Richard. You want to sing a duet?
I really only know the one.
You guys can alternate back and forth.
Something, yeah. Well, if it moves you and you want to belt one out.
Who's that knocking at my door? Who's that knocking at my door? Who's that knocking at my door? Cried the fair young maiden.
It's only me from over the sea. I'm all lit up like a Christmas tree. I'll sail the seas until I croak. I'll fight and swear and drink and smoke, but I can't swim a bloody stroke. Barnacle Bill the sailor.
I'll come down and let you in. I'll come down and let you in. I'll come down and let you in. Cried the fair young maiden.
Well, hurry before I bust in the door. I'll rear and tear and rant and roar. I'll spin you yarns and tell you lies. I'll drink your wine and eat your pies. I'll kiss your cheeks and black your eyes.
from that era, I'm pretty sure there's a Popeye cartoon with Olive Oil singing that, you know, Fair
That's what I
Maiden
was thinking.
part.
I think I've heard this in Popeye.
Yeah.
Bluto.
Yeah, Pluto.
Yeah.
Yeah, these things are real low.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, oh, man.
Okay, Dick. All right.
It's me and my crew, we come for a screw. That's Barnacle Bill, the sailor.
Okay, I did find a couple Joe Venuti tunes on V-Disc. And it's not just Joe Venuti, it's actually K-Star with Joe Venuti and the Les Paul Trio. And this was recorded, or there's two songs on this side. They were recorded November 1944 on a radio broadcast called For the Record. And that radio broadcast was created specifically to, for the radio broadcast, but they were recorded by the V-Disc group, or they were broadcast specifically for the V-Disc group to record and create music to put on V-Disc. So, this radio show For the Record existed only during World War II.
And was it out of New York?
Los Angeles, I'm pretty sure, is where they were broadcasting from. But yeah, the V-Disc group would record every episode of it, and then they would cherry pick tunes they wanted to go ahead and press onto V-Discs. So this has Joe Venuti in it, and the first one I'll play, he actually does not solo, but what is it called where one instrument plays? I don't know. Yeah.
It's a solo.
And Venuti was from South Philly.
Yeah.
Name of the song is What Goes Up Must Come Down. And K-Star is the vocal.
This was a wonderful trade.
You leave me alone.
Let me try that again.
You leave me alone. You don't even phone. Carefree as a bird in the sky. Remember what goes up must come down. Baby, you've been flying too high. It's all over town. Getting around. I'm not gonna sit home and cry. Remember what goes up must come down. Baby, you've been flying too high. You ought to get your water, baby, but now it's too late. 'Cause I know you so well. When you're through with cutting papers and you break down my gate, you ring the front doorbell. Don't go have your fling and don't miss a thing. I'll see you down the road by and by. Remember what goes up must come down. Baby, you've been flying too high. I mean, you've been flying too high. When you're through with cutting cables and you break down my gate, you ring my front doorbell. Well, go have your fling and don't forget Mrs. Thing. See you down to earth by and by. Remember what goes down, something must go down. Baby, you've been flying too high. You've been flying too high.
trio, but
Oh, so that's Paul.
You can play a little bit.
Yeah.
Who was the singer, Dick?
The ornamentation was really
The
good.
key stars.
So Todd does,
Well, she was good.
Todd, does Venuti change over the years, his style? Or if you hear him in 1928, he's the same?
No, he's the same. Yeah, I would say those mid-70s recordings, you know, his approach is still the same. He'll start a solo with the fifth of a chord, the highest note in a chord. It's just one of those things. Oh, that's a different song.
Okay, here's a 1939 Decca recording, and Joe Venuti has a relatively minor part of this record, which is Chirbirbin, and he's listed as his orchestra. So I don't know whether he was just fronting an orchestra as a real short solo, but it features, this is the first recording of where Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters got together, and first recording. So they're featured, and you know Venuti's not going to dominate with long breaks. Let's see what we have here.
When the moon hangs low in Napoli, there's a handsome gondolier. Every night he sings so happily, so his lady love can hear. In the manner so bravissimo, he repeats his serenade, and his heart beats so fortissimo when she raises the Venetian shade. Chirbirbin,
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 Chirbirbin, he waits for her each night beneath her balcony. Chirbirbin, he begs to hold her tight, but no, she won't agree. Chirbirbin, she throws a rose and throws a kiss from up above. Chirbirbin, 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 they're so in love.
chirbirbin, bee, 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 chirbirbin, bee, 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 chirbirbin, 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 pop, want it in the beehive, da 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 chirbirbin. He waits for her each night beneath her little balcony. Chirbirbin, he begs to hold her tight, but no, she won't agree. Chirbirbin, she throws a rose and throws a kiss from above. Chirbirbin, da-da-da-da.
Shoot spaghetti to me, Tony.
Chirbirbin, they're so in love.
Ah, Chirbirbin, che bel fatin, e sguardo dolce, assassin. Chirbirbin, 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 che bel fatin.
Nice.
So did Venuti ever have a working band? Or is this just something in the suit?
Then we had the Blue Four,
Well, when he was younger, yeah, he had that kind of group. That was the late 20s, early
He
30s.
actually played in a Philadelphia band with Eddie Lane. The Scranton Sirens, I think, was the name of the Philly band. And they then moved on to bigger and better. But I don't know the answer if they were regularly playing in this period.
You'll understand why.
You like that record?
It was too advanced for the age.
Okay.
One line in Italian. I don't know whether he spoke it, but
I know a guy that had, his whole house was full of 78s when we first moved out here. I was interested in 78s, I was a kid, and
yeah.
his favorite record was Chirbirbin by
Harry James. Harry James, that was
He
the,
thought that was the greatest record ever, and I found Chirbirbin on like something from the teens, and I told him about that, and he goes, "What? Harry James wrote that?" And I'm like, "Well, they wrote it in the teens because I saw it on a record."
I remember that record. Yeah, Harry James could hit these notes. Yeah. What a tone on that trumpet.
You remember Bob Brown and Arlen Asher used to have a show on KHFM, and I remember they did a show on Venuti, and that's where I first heard the story about he called up several bass players and told them he had a gig and to meet him on some street corner, and there was no gig, and they all showed up. There was no Venuti, but the musicians union made Venuti pay them for the non-gig.
Just as a gag, he did that?
Yeah.
You do a whole show just on his gags that Venuti used to pull.
That's hilarious.
I've also heard the story repeated that it was with tuba players, but I doubt there were not that many tuba players.
I always like the one with Roy Rogers and Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So Carl, what do you have?
Well, this is one of his more obscure records, I think. And it's called Tempo de Modernage. And it's by Joe Venuti's Rhythm Boys. It was recorded in, I think, 1931, and it's on the Columbia label. And it was co-written with Frank Signorelli, who's playing piano on it, and Tommy Dorsey might be the horn player, and Eddie Lang is on guitar. And oh, by the way, he's playing most of it with the back of his fiddle bow. So it's kind of a modern effect.
And is that you say that, Carl, where the string of the bow goes over the...
Yeah.
And then the...
Yeah, you loosen up.
Okay, yeah, that, it shows that in that little video that we
Right, yeah.
circulated.
The difference between the flat top and the arch top. Make the arch stop.
Carl, I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Joe Benuti playing Boogie Boogie.
Dorsey's clarinet playing is so smooth. It seems like technology-wise, it was easier to capture the clarinet, than the other instruments.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. 'Cause I've heard so many records here where the clarinet comes through and just blows my mind. And I'm actually very fond of Pete Fountain.
Oh, I love Pete Fountain, New Orleans.
I have a couple of dozen Pete Fountain LPs, and the clarinet, that just really captures me, so I really notice it in other recordings.
And he used a glass mouthpiece.
Oh yeah.
That like Ackerbilk.
Yeah.
Stranger on the Shore. Yeah, there were some. You get that smoother sound.
Yeah.
My cousin who majored in the clarinet told me that.
But not quite so sophisticated.
It looks like
It's a private press he did for his friends.
One of these lousy recordings.
Yeah, actually, it's not very good condition either, but,
What do we got?
I was gonna play the other side of this, but I'm gonna play this one. It's called the Onyx Club Revue, and it's a recording they did privately, just to give to their friends, like probably fellow bandmates and just friends. It's Joe Venuti, of course, Tommy Dorsey, Manny Klein, Joe Venuti, and Jimmy Dorsey.
Tommy and Jimmy.
Yeah, so.
What year?
I believe this is 33. I tried researching, which I actually never looked it up before. Someone has reissued, this has been reissued on a 78 in 1981. Which is kind of weird to see.
Like Arkram's band.
She's teasing you.
Hello, Fred! Hello, Joe! The Onyx Club Revue.
Have a little drink on me, my boy. Drinks you have on me will surely bring you joy. Life will be what it used to be. At the Onyx Club with me. Tom and Jim and many too. They wind up playing blues for you. Alright, what's up? So have a little drink on me, my boy. At the Onyx Club with me.
something like that.
Yeah.
Sound like Spike Jones.
So they had more than one drink, right?
Was that Joe Benuti doing the vulture?
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. So that Onyx name would predate the Stuff Smith Onyx
Yeah,
Orchestra.
yeah. Anyway, I'll play the other side, which is even worse.
Well,
After a few drinks.
yeah, they say, what do you serve your picture?
Anyway, it has the spirit of Joe Benuti.
And other spirits.
Yeah, like what he would do if they would let him get away with it.
I don't know how he got away with all that stuff. You know, the one about the filling one of the orchestra members' bathtubs with Jello.
Doing Jello shots gives new meaning to it, huh?
A whole bathtub full. Yeah.
So Darnell Howard was a reed man in the 20s, and he probably shows up in the 30s. You'll hear him with Jelly Roll Morton, probably King Oliver, or maybe even Duke Ellington. And he's up there with, to me, with Jimmy Noon and Johnny Dodds and Omer Simeon and all those guys. But on this one, he plays violin. And he plays a pretty mean violin, too. It's really, really kind of pretty.
I missed that.
What's the name of the guy again?
Darnell Howard, and this is a tune called Cavernism from Earl Hines. I guess they were trying to cash in on kind of a modernistic sound or something. I don't know what that meant. But, and the other thing is, this sounds like something from much later. It sounds like something from like 1940, but it's 1933. So when you hear other things from 1933 and then you put this one on, it's like, wow, where'd that jump band come from? Okay, here comes Darnell. Earl Hines. That was world-class fiddle to me. I don't know, that sound,
It was pretty good, yeah. What I noticed is on this one, though, when the clarinet got up high, the tonal quality went out the window.
Okay, we're gonna take a short break because I.
And I'll see you in my dreams. I found a new baby.
2 boxes per person, right?
Yeah, you better define box.
I've got one gigantic box.
Encontré una nueva chiquita.
And we'll go through one more cycle.
What
and
was it, Todd?
I found a new baby.
Oh.
We'll go through one more cycle, and then Dick has brought in. We kind of upset him to say it was an Army wind-up player. No, it's a Navy, but it's a V-disc player, so he will play something for us on
Just
V-disc.
acquired from John Lewis.
Acquired from John Lewis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I bet John Lewis has, he knew that, my friend I mentioned earlier, I bet he has I think John Lewis came and cleaned that house out for Martha after Dick died. I bet you, if you see 100 copies of Cherryberry Bean by Harry James, that was.
And Todd, what are we listening to?
I found a new baby.
I found a new baby.
Yeah, so what, can you list the personnel on that?
Yeah, that one Todd played the other day, and I told me it was final with.
Well, it's not on.
Yeah.
It's the blue 4.
Oh, okay. And who was the clarinet? Was that Jimmy Dorsey or?
I don't know. Where'd I put this?
It runs the monitor, right? It runs your
Who was that, Todd? I mean, what was the group?
The Joe Venuti and the Blue Four.
And the Blue Four are,
I don't remember now.
okay.
I can be kind of obsessed.
Let's see. Who,
Yeah, I always say, oh, good song, it's good, that's good.
come on, wake up.
Richard.
I can't even remember the first version I ever heard of that song. I have the idea that maybe Chrisman had recorded it at one time.
I think what I'm gonna play, I going through my collection, I did not find very many records that had Joe Venuti's name on, and I was in a bit of a panic, but I learned that he had played with Paul Whiteman, so I started individually researching my Paul Whiteman records, which I've got, a dozen. I mean, between 10 and 20 Paul Whiteman records. And eventually came across, Google says he's on this one. You kind of have to listen closely to hear the violin. But this is My Pet by Paul Whiteman and his orchestra. And Google said it was recorded in April of 1928.
So who's the clarinetist?
Adrian Rollini.
Oh, that was Revue. He usually played
Yeah, okay.
played the baritone or the
Bass
bass
saxophone, right, yeah.
But he can play anything, I guess. Any reed.
Have that from you. It's not definitive, it just says rotated in.
Jump up every time and change the settings and get the right EQ for everything.
Yeah.
but then it's kind of irritating because you're not listening to the record, you're listening to me futz around with it, so.
But we should have a theme where it's just
Sounds
like
pretty good though. I mean,
we're gonna
it
play,
pretty good.
Yeah.
you know,
It's just,
Victor
it sounds like
orthophonic
a barn
records
door or
from
something.
1927.
Yeah. it's, you know,
Don't start us, it might turn into reality.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then he can get the settings right, and we'll be good for the whole show.
You play RC Victor from the 30s, the same EQs, it's gonna sound different.
Okay, so I'm going to play something you probably would never hear if you didn't come to one of our record spins. Because you don't hear Roger Wolf Kahn and his band that often. He was from a moneyed family, I think from Philadelphia, but I may be wrong.
Who?
Roger Wolf Kahn. His dad was a banker and he financed young Roger and his band to a large extent. But
I think
it
his
turned out
name
to
was
be,
Otto Kahn, wasn't it?
Maybe,
He was like a
yeah.
Big shot, big magnate.
yeah. But it turned out his son had talent. And Joe Venuti plays, I'm doing this one because we've heard a lot of hot stuff from Venuti, but here's an interlude with Venuti playing his sweet side. So it's Anything You Say on Victor Roger Wolf Kahn and his orchestra.
Kahn put together some pretty good bands, they made some great records.
Is that better?
Funny pictures. Need some of those spirits.
They had a gambling problem. Gambling, oh, gambling.
It looks like you like having your own way. It looks like I like anything you say. It looks like you like a Cadillac bouquet. It looks like I like anything you say. We like a lot of lovers do. A house and a lot of skies of blue. We'll raise a garden and family someday. I beg your pardon, anything you say.
classically trained that would not use the whole bow.
So Todd, tell us again what you're hearing. Tell us again what you're
So
hearing.
what I'm hearing is that when Venuti's playing the long notes, he's using every bit of that bow from the frog to the tip. He's not using a small part or 3/4 of the bow. I mean, to me, I can hear that in the expression.
So you really think, we talked a little bit about this because of Venuti's tendency to stick the violin through the bow, that he's probably not using expensive bows to do that.
Well, yeah, when he's doing that, right? Yeah, but otherwise, I'm sure he's using, like on the recordings, he's using probably better fiddles than he is for whacking people over the head.
Maybe it is, maybe not. But Dick, what you got?
Okay, what I could find with Joe Venuti was very few, so I'm gonna branch out to some other fiddlers. This is another V-disc from the Stuff Smith Trio. These were actually recorded by Stuff Smith Trio on standard transcription discs. So it would have been the 16 inchers with 5 or 6 tunes on it at 78 RPM. And the V-disc group would actually just had access to tons and tons of things like that, and they would preview a lot of it, and if they found something they thought would be good on a V-disc, they would get a copy of it. And this is where these two tunes came from. I think it was like November of '45 from standard transcription disc recordings. And I'll just play one called Humoresque.
Oh, that's probably Dvorak.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Who presented
Do you know, without having to look it up, I don't wanna make you look, do you know who's in the Stuff Smith?
I don't, Dan.
Was it Dinah?
Dan, did you present my pet?
No.
Who did?
Richard
Yes.
Hines.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
some humor in there.
The original is very quaint, simple.
Yeah.
I think I played it like in the 6th grade.
So what you got, Michael?
I have a very limited collection of 78s, and no more Joe Venuti or even Stefan Grappelli. But during the 1930s, Judy and I would listen to a lot of Western swing stuff. I have some great stuff all on CDs though, and my impression was that there were more really good swing fiddlers playing Western swing during the 30s than there were playing jazz. Hardly any difference, I guess. The Western groups featured stringed instruments as opposed to horns, but so decided to play one of the Bob Wills numbers. This is a little later. This is from '46. I may have even played it previously. It's called Fat Boy Rag, and it features, it's an instrumental, and it features everybody in the group. Bob Wills at this time was using 3 fiddles, and Bob Wills was a very, very good fiddler also. But so I think the 2 of them take breaks. I think the first one is Bob Wills, but, and the rest you'll hear the steel guitar and electric guitar and whatever else, maybe piano. 1946, Columbia.
So was Johnny Gimble in the band then?
No,
I don't think so.
no, he didn't start playing with Bob till about 1949.
What about Joe Holly, the left-handed
Yeah,
fiddler?
yeah.
He would have been in.
Yeah, he was. He was the lefty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he
Carl,
took that.
Carl, are you ready?
Oh, I could be ready.
Okay. Hey Carl, before you start, I have a question for Todd. What would be the difference between a Jovi Venuti style fiddler and a Western swing type fiddler?
I mean, if you really play any style, so,
Could Venuti have done that? Okay, could those fiddlers have done Venuti stuff?
It's almost like that's what they were doing. It's like the fiddlers for Bob Wills and Light Crust Doughboys and all those guys were kind of imitating what they heard on the jazz records. To me, it's what it seems like.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just a different format of jazz.
Okay.
Different hat.
It's all about the hat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I gotta put on my other hat.
Okay, Carl, I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't think there's too many people imitating this one here. It's Eddie South, who is this amazing violin player. And he was black. It kind of changed his life, the fact of the color of his skin, because he was an outrageously good, gifted child violinist, and he was an outrageous classical player, but the doors there shut really fast because they didn't. I mean, it was even worse than most types of music. That there was a color band in classical music that was not to be broken, and Fritz Kiesler, who was one of the premier classical violinists in this country, saw Eddie's talent, and he mentored him and sent him over to Europe, and he studied with some masters in Italy and in the Balkans too, and but coming back to this country, he still had to, he couldn't get any symphony jobs, so he started playing jazz with a classical feel to it, and what we're going to hear is a number Kreisler wrote called Preludium and Allegro, and it's on Columbia label from 1940, and David Martin plays piano, Eddie Gibbs plays guitar, and Ernest Bass Hill, I guess you know what he plays, and Gordon Peg Powell plays drums, and I got a. This is from the Dark Angel of the Violin. It was a 4-record set that Columbia put out, and I've got the other 3 at home. And they're all real good.
Does he do Hedge Riccati on that 4-album set?
Yeah, he
That was
does.
one of his big tunes, I guess. He learned in Europe.
Yeah, actually, it's on the other side.
What was the set called again? Dark Angel?
The violin.
Angel, the violin.
Dark Angel of the Violin.
And he's also, it's called Dark Angel of the Fiddle. I guess who the record company was trying to get to buy the records.
Virtuosity there, huh?
Chrysler wrote that in 19.
He was born at the turn of the century, but he did play growing up when he was a teenager and young guy. He played in a number of jazz groups, and so he knew that style of music from a first kind of professional jobs were all playing jazz and he Eddie South was he wrote Joe Venuti's, I mean not Joe Venuti, but Django Reinhardt and Stephen Capelli and they recorded with him on the swing label out of France, and he did some solo stuff with Django, but they had Django and the two aforementioned fiddle players doing got kind of a mix between classic and jazz that is really good, but I only have that on vinyl.
That's pretty good.
Oh, okay. This is real. This is not violin. This is fiddling. This is Henry Williams and Eddie Anthony doing the Georgia crawl. We're sort of going into the more vernacular style here.
Look at this. Out in the backyard, just shaking like this. Dirty Georgia ground. Oh, Georgia ground. We don't need a bad time. Dirty Georgia ground.
Yeah, it's real clean. I think it's for old, like old stock or something. I wasn't the first person to get it.
I wish mine was in that condition.
Yeah. I've been trying to buy records online from the auction.
Don't know anything about
and stuff like that.
Oops, sorry, Carl. Bird, just birdie.
Oh, quality good, yeah. Yeah, you know, I've never had, I'm not him like my favorite brand.
So what are we listening to, Dan?
This is Happy Feet by Frankie Trumbauer and his orchestra. It features a little bit of Joe Venuti. That's the trouble with my records. They all feature a little bit of Joe Venuti. Alternatively, I've got one kind of like what was just played, the Jazz Fiddler by the Mississippi Sheiks guys. It says Walter Jacobs and Lonnie Carter. And it's not really jazz, but it says Jazz Fiddler on the label. I don't know. That kind of qualifies, but which one? I don't have time for very many more today. I guess I'll play Happy Feet. A guy named Dick Powell sings, and Joe Venuti over here behind him. I guess they just called him in whenever they were recording.
Okay, everybody, Dick had asked if he could earn some extra credit by giving us a demonstration of a Navy player, not an Army, but a Navy player. And I don't think he's done this before. He brought in, early on, he joined us, his Army wind up and kind of talked to us about his programs. So, let's tell us what you got. And
to sacrifice under the steel needle.
So you probably played the Chrysler, you know, classical version of the Preludium. And then jazzed it up.
Okay, yeah, like Richard said, these,
I'm gonna tell folks in here.
oh, okay.
I forgot. Okay, so Dick is giving a demonstration for those interested of the Navy player. Dick, I'm not gonna try to film it.
Okay,
It's too much work for me.
No, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, this is, it's a wind-up, record player. I picked this up from John Lewis, who's had it, he said he didn't know how many years in his collection, but, this particular style of record player was produced, during World War II. There were at least 5 different contractors that made these. Each contractor or each company, theirs was a little bit different, but you know, they looked very much the same. They were issued to the armed forces, Army and Navy. The only difference between the Army ones and the Navy ones is the color of the paint. Navy had gray, Army had green. There's usually a little label right here under the cover that gives instructions on how to use it, to wind it, change it, and it uses a steel needle. And in this, it says it's okay to go ahead and play like 6 to 8 records with the same needle, and I'm sure that was to conserve needles, you know, where they were using these out in the field. But anyhow, each of these tags will list who made it, and this one was made by Sandwick and Company. I'm not sure that I've ever heard of any other wind-up phonographs being made by Sandwick, but you know, wartime they were finding anybody who thought they could make this, they were doing it. But yeah, they made these in the hundreds of thousands and distributed them to the troops worldwide in all the theaters. There were electric machines, you know, with electric motors, but basically it would still be the same acoustical sound reproduction. But these were made wind up, and don't know it for certain, but my assumption is because they sent them out to the troops, they might be out in the field where there's no access to electricity or whatever, so something like this would be lowest common denominator. And again, you know, they had them manufactured in the hundreds of thousands.
So did Marines would have this version?
Marines would have access to it, yeah, through the Navy. Yeah, I've never seen one marked or whatever, called out specifically for Marine Corps. And you know, Marine Corps was kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the Navy Department. So, but this particular one is stenciled on there, RS Terminal Island, San Pedro, California, Welfare and Recreation. So probably what this was in like special services, a place that soldiers off duty could go and just find recreational stuff. You know, they have the pool tables, ping pong tables, you could check out baseball gloves, footballs, these record players, and take it out and, you know, listen to music with your buddies while you're drinking beer. But anyhow, it was 78 RPM. There is a speed adjustment on it, so you could kind of fine tune it, you know, 80 RPM, a little bit down, a little bit up. Cup here to put needles in. And again, this is the reproducer, the steel needle right there. I should have said that earlier, Andy, you know, trigger alert, steel needle. One of the things I kind of like about these is this is the knob or the crank for it. And the government had the good sense to chain it to the machine.
With me around.
Well, I just thinking back to that, you know, 18, 19-year-old boys running these, the first thing that they'd lose would be the crank. But you can take it out of there, you know, the first half a dozen turns, you're kind of screwing the handle into the machine, or into the motor. And it was, you wind it up, there's a can in there with a large, like a clock spring, you wind that up, and that's what drove the turntable. There's a governor in there, that.
What's the governor? Is it like flyweights, you think? or
Yeah,
something?
it's flyweights. There's 3 flat springs with like a half ball, steel ball on it, and that spins around. The faster it goes, of course,
Flyweights come out.
the flyweights come out, and that's kind of linked into a little brake on there. So as it ran faster, it would slow it down depending on where you adjusted the RPM. I know that's probably not a good explanation. You look at it, you can see it right away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And again, you know, another lowest common denominator type of thing for this, but wind it up a little bit.
How many of these things survive, do you think, since? I've never seen one.
No telling, yeah.
But you're
yeah.
saying they put out 100,000 of them. or
Yeah.
something.
I think a bunch of this stuff was like a lot of equipment that was issued over to the troops overseas in World War II. When the war ended, they just walked away from it.
Yeah.
Like all the vehicles, you know, the Jeeps, the trucks, very specifically, there was an agreement with all the major auto manufacturers that all that stuff stayed overseas because they didn't want to compete
Yeah, right.
with their new, plus, you know, the logistics of shipping it all back, so. VDIS themselves, you see a lot of them available in Europe, and I think it's just because
yeah.
they were abandoned
It is
over there.
weird,
But yeah, to answer your question, I don't know, you know, at any point in time on eBay, you might see 2 or 3 of them.
I don't
for
go
sale.
looking for these, but I've seen a lot of windups. I've never seen one of these.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's pretty, you know, good, pretty crude. Of course, like any of these acoustic machines, the needle vibrates in the grooves, and those vibrations are transmitted up to a diaphragm in the reproducer, and that just vibrates, you know, causing the air or vibrations in the air, and then those vibrations are just amplified through this arm.
Yeah,
It goes.
One of the companies that made these turned into Caliphone. You know, that made made the things for schools that were equally sort of indestructible,
Yeah.
not great acoustics, but
Yeah.
you can see that you could drop this and nothing was gonna break.
Yeah. Once it goes down underneath the top here, it's just a real quick kind of almost like paper mache horn.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes out. No volume adjustment other than laying something on top of that. But yeah, pretty simple, pretty rough.
But then can you work on this?
Yeah.
So you could be the new John Lewis?
Well, I'm not gonna go that far. It's like a typewriter, I can't even type, let alone take one apart. But yeah, the very first Victrola I ever had, Donna got it at a yard sale for $100. It was a stand-up floor model and a flat blade screwdriver and a pair of pliers. You can totally strip any of these down and work on it. I'm gonna go ahead and put some bob wheels on this. I'll say it ahead of time, after listening to Richard and Phil's system especially, this is gonna sound like crap.
That's authentic.
Well, that's,
You know,
yeah, this
that's
is what,
that's the joy of it.
yeah, you kind of imagine these guys, you know, even maybe in sort of a rear area out of front somewhere, haven't heard any kind
I
of
mean,
music.
you know, in World War II, this was really archaic.
Yeah, well, yeah.
People weren't using these, you know,
Yeah.
at home.
Yeah.
You know, electrical.
Yeah. That's, and my thoughts are probably like, they kind of figured, well, you know, the majority of these, they're not gonna have access to
Yeah.
electricity, or the electricity is gonna be being used for some higher priority. But, just like any other Victrola or wind-up, turn off the brake.
That's the way these things are done.
Yeah.
The Germans wouldn't shoot at you until the song was over, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, probably depending on what you were playing. Sound like it's slowing down a little bit. Probably needs a couple more cranks.
Well, it's interesting this way.
Pardon?
It's interesting this way.
Yeah, yeah.
I can tell when it's over.
That's when they all pass out. These, one of the other companies that made these, a company called Portalec out of California. And the Portalec machines would have a little green sticker right here with the inspector's initials, you know, when they signed off, quality control, that it was good to go. Just, but yeah, that's about it.
That's nice.
Right there. You'll see the other manufacturers, it's, the suitcase is always the same size, you know, the plywood construction, all that, the layout, where this goes. The cranks are always chained to it somewhere. There's always a needle cup, a little bit different shape sometimes. This platter was fairly consistent, you know, the same size, and it would have like some flocking on it, I guess. This one's pretty worn, but yeah.
That steel needle would chew through the V-disc real quickly, wouldn't it?
Yes, I specifically didn't put a V-disc on, because a lot of those were made out of like vinylite, close to like a vinyl type material. The shellac, the steel needle, the shellac can, you know, hold its own against the steel needle, but a lot of the V-discs, it'll, within 10 seconds, it'll slow it down to where it just stops, where that needle is digging in so bad. There is, right here, you know, where it pivots right here, there's a spring hooked up on there, and that spring will, I think, is supposed to provide some tension so there's not as much force going down on the needle into it. And you can tell, you can play V-discs on it if the spring's nice and tight. It keeps the needle out of there enough that it doesn't stop the vinyl record entirely. But yeah, you're right.
So did V-disc start with shellac, and then as the years went by, go to the vinyl?
The huge
Vinylite.
majority of them were vinylite, yeah. The only shellac ones were pressed by Columbia. When Columbia pressed them, they on in the early years, but vinyl real quickly became a critical war material. They were using it to make lifeboats and other different plastic things. So then they went to a material called form bar, which is kind of like vinyl. You can tell them they're a whole lot thinner and more flimsy. But yeah, I'll bet 5% of the V discs were pressed in something other than shellac. Shellac, of course, was a very critical material early on, and a big part of that was because the Japanese had captured a bunch of the places in the South Pacific that produced shellac, or the source for lacquer. They did in the war, did drives for your old shellac records, and they would crush them up and try and
Don't
reuse them.
talk about that, these people cry.
Well,
That story.
again, I sort of felt like, Steel Needle and Andy's gonna be there.
I actually, and even with vinyl LPs, I just wonder about how many are in the landfills. And it would have been better to recycle them somehow,
But that's kind of an interesting thing. I found a article that was in a 1949 issue. It was a magazine called All Hands, which was a magazine produced by the Navy, a monthly magazine that was circulated within the Navy. And mid-1949, they found an article that announced the end of the V-disc program. So it said, with issue, whatever it was, F, no more V-discs are going out. And it said, in order to honor the agreement with the artists and the record producers, anyone with stocks of V-discs, see whatever form, blah, 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 for specific instructions on where to turn them in. They said if you don't have access to that, then they had to be destroyed. And I forget one of the ways that it's listed in this Navy article. It says submersion. So I figured, okay, that's for the ships cruising around out there with V-disc. You sit on the fantail and just throw it out into the ocean. But they didn't want to come out and say, you can just throw them overboard.
Let's go looking for them, yeah.
Yeah. Like the Titanic or something.
Or maybe put them in submarines.
Well, yeah. Well, they would be on ships. I've got a few of them that are stamped, with some ships.
I looked in my book and there's several different recording curves for the V-discs.
Okay.
So I wonder if that was because the material changed or they had different recording processes.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't set the.
I was gonna make some kind of crack about hooking up your machine to this thing, Let's see
Well,
what
they did have, RCA Victor pressed a lot of V-discs, but they also subcontracted out. There's, I don't know, probably like half a dozen, maybe different places that pressed them. And RCA Victor are the ones that would gather them all up and pack them into the individual shipping boxes each month. And then from RCA Victor, the boxes would be sent to different ports of embarkation around the United States for shipment out worldwide.
Why would they dump them, throw them overboard? Why not just melt them down and sell the raw material back?
I think that was part of the, they had to be destroyed. So I think if you were stateside and you had a ton of V-discs, you'd just take them to whoever was the commander of the base and say, here's all our V-discs, and they would pass them on up the line to whoever was in charge of getting rid of V-discs, and maybe they would do something like that. But like if you're on a destroyer still out in the middle of the South Pacific patrolling and the program's over, you've got to get rid of them today, roll overboard.
Did radio have anything to do with less of these being available for the soldiers? As there's more radio available for the soldiers in the field, less need for record players?
I think that actually kind of started out with a lack of radio stations available to the soldiers around the world. Europe, of course, had radio stations, but they weren't playing anything that American troops would have particularly been interested in. Maybe so, armed forces started getting into other countries, they would establish their own radio stations, like, you know, AFRS, Armed Forces Radio Service. But they're still, I think it was way more, you know, just having your own machine and records for the soldiers to play in different.
Well, this doesn't take any electricity.
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's,
which,
yep. Yeah, just a very, you know, least common denominator kind of thing to play some music. And you'll see pictures of soldiers, like in Europe a lot, you know, in the middle of bombed out villages, and they found somebody's old Victrola in a bombed out house, and here they're all sitting around listening to who knows what. Yeah. So they, you know, the soldiers were looking for something to listen to. And these, I think these kind of help to fill that void or that need or whatever.
Well, thank you, Dick.
Well, yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Extra 20 points for that one.
All right. So I might get invited back again.
Oh,
we
yeah.
should get
I was gonna say,
a
there's a
TV show.
point system?
What's that?
We need to get you a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy about these. His dad had been in the Navy. You know, thinking of your situation, Richard. He said he can still remember every time they went to a different Navy base, they would go to the Navy Recreation Center and check one of these out, and they would have it at their
I've
house.
heard them, but I can't remember anybody having them in their family house.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I don't remember my dad ever talking about such a thing, but
Hibbing, Minnesota. It's like 20 years behind always, so,
I bet he did it
you know, there are files of records and.
So when you go counterclock, what happens? It unwinds the torsion or something?
Yeah, well, counterclockwise,
Yeah,
just
oh,
don't
yeah,
screw the
yeah.
ring.
Oh, okay.
The cans, the leak,
yeah,
the,
yeah, the,
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, see, that's just threaded in there, so it threads onto the shaft that you wind the spring with. But the spring will just stay, you know, under tension in there. I guess responsible control owners are supposed
So
to
you're
let
fine.
it run down to zero tension, but.
Did you know Bob?
Otherwise your spring will lose its temper over
Yeah.
time.
And actually, if you don't do that, eventually the spring will break.
Yeah.
If you leave tension on it.
Yeah.
I know from experience.
Okay.
Okay, I think Todd has another Joe Venuti record for us.
It's a composition by Venuti and Lang. It's called Cheese and Crackers.
What kind of wood to show you this thing? I don't remember if I showed you last time, you kind of like off the beat, like I do, but.
Let's spend that somewhere in this clear.
This does not want to stay on the record.
I thought he was saying toilets, detail and
1927 recording.
Uh-huh.
Tell about the guy with the Viewmasters.
Yeah.
Leroy's name was Leroy.
Richard Hines.
Oh. Well, I learned something else while researching violinists. What I have here is a on the Madison label, which is related to gray gull. Oh, and it's like a dark amber color, you know, the red shellac, but it's not. It's actually a little darker than the others I've had. But this is by the Louisville Master Players, and I learned that it was just they would just assign different names to the studio musicians. So it wasn't like there was a real band called the Louisville Master Players. It was just, what are we going to call it for this label? But part of the Grey Gull band, they had a multi-instrumentalist player named Andy Sanella,
Fellow musician.
and the violin was his major instrument. But he also played piano, organ, banjo, cello, and vibraphone.
How do you spell his last name?
Sanella, Snaella. And
Andy Sanella was big.
was he?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they said he was
played
like
a
an
lot of
album,
dime
yeah.
store labels, and
Right.
if you can't figure out who the musicians are, you can't always do it. A good guess will always be
Andy
Andy Sanella's, and he played a lot of different instruments.
Right.
So yeah.
Well,
I think I've got one with him playing a reed saxophone or something.
yeah, said he played saxophone and clarinet also. So
I got one called
Pretty-
Andy
pretty
Sanella and his
talented.
Pennzoil Orchestra.
Go for it.
okay, well here's the Louisville Master Players doing a song called Virginia, and as I remember, there's a violin section in the middle of it here. So hope you like it. Maybe Andy Sanella playing the vibraphone.
And that's a Madison?
Yes.
Yeah. All those gray golds tend to be fun.
They're different, they're very distinctive, you can.
They
you
sound
know,
different,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, the instrumentation, just their style, they have their own thing going. On what, about 20 or 30 different labels?
That one's from 1930.
Okay, I'm gonna play a Gene Goldkett record, and some of you will know for a hot record, it's the only one I can play for you, Clementine. They were one of the hottest bands going, but that was only in the field. When they played live in the studio, they were restricted to playing more middle of the roads. But sometimes when the cat's away, the mice will play, and the cat was gone this particular day, and they, luckily for us, recorded Clementine. Of course, Joe Venuti will be on it in some form
Is
or
that one
fashion.
was you said the burnt sienna colored blacks?
Yeah.
But if you hold it up against the black slacks on top.
Yeah, yeah, you hold it up, you know.
Yeah, that's a really light.
I should have said this was a great band, not just because Venuti, but because of Eddie Lane, Bix, Trumbauer, Steve Brown, Don Murray. I mean, it was just.
That was a terrific trombone solo. It really was.
Yeah, yeah. So, unfortunately, we only get to hear them at their best, kind of on this record.
Kind of like
Michael.
I'm next.
kind of like the calypso singers that what they did out when they were playing for the festivals would be so different from what they put on record.
Yeah, yeah. And they say this band went up against some of the Black Harlem bands that were considered the best, and they beat them. I mean, they were that good.
I've got a gold cat record of Showboat. Here comes the Showboat. You really haul ass out there.
What's that?
There's a record of, one of their other records, Here Comes the Showboat. That's a pretty hot one too. Stomper.
Yeah. Don't you wish they were all like Clementine?
A lot of them, especially the 1924 sides, are just total vanilla. It's like, man, I can't finish listening to this.
Anyway, plumb out of jazz violin. This would certainly be called fiddle music. This is recorded 1927 on the Conqueror label. Tune you might have heard of called "Turkey in the Straw," and it's more interesting from like a historic perspective. It was a fellow by the name of John Boltzell, who was discovered in early 1920s, I think 22, by a fellow by the name of Thomas Edison. And this guy was playing in the Ohio state fair, and he won the fiddle contest. And apparently Mr. Edison was sufficiently impressed that he arranged for this guy to be recorded, and throughout the 20s, I think he made a little bit more than 20 recordings. And this gives you an idea. Now, maybe Todd could verify this, but these guys were mostly self-taught or learned from somebody else who wasn't technically great. And I don't think they rarely left the first position, right, on the fiddle.
Right.
And any case, this
And
is
they didn't use the whole bow either.
No, I don't know what they did, but
Well, you see some of them, here's the end of the bow and they're holding the bow up here, and again, it limits what you're able to do. But if you're not trying to do too much, or you're not capable of doing played a lot of square dances.
I could hear his wife saying, if you're gonna rehearse that tune again, go out to the barn.
So it was all in first position.
Yeah, and in many respects, this is the antithesis of jazz, which involves improvisation. So these guys would take a melody and they would play it pretty much the same way, maybe 20 times in a row for square dance, just over and over. And you know, I'm the guitarist, and you can imagine this was not the most fun thing to back this up, you know, playing, you know, but this is what, and it works fine for square dancing.
It's dance music.
Yeah.
The bowing was pretty good, but the reason I was telling you about holding the bow at the end is because when you first learn to play the violin, learning to hold the bow is a big deal. And so they gave me, I remember, a long pencil, and you'd hold it at the end, and you would press down with your pinky to reinforce that your thumb is the fulcrum for your bowing.
I've got a record for you to analyze, Todd. Have you ever heard of any of the Ukrainian fiddlers from the 20s, like Paulo Humania from the Kalatamasa, and another guy I can't think of right now. It's really strenuous, just dance music. You know, it's country dance music, but it's fierce.
It's a melody everybody knows.
You said Ukrainian.
Actually,
My mother's family from Kiev.
But I never heard addition of fiddling. It sounds very much like country.
Yeah, like hillbillies or something.
Actually,
Ukrainian hillbillies.
yeah, I should say something about the tune, Turkey in the Straw, which dates back to the very beginning of minstrelly, and it was somewhere around 1830, 1834, and it was originally called Old Zip Coon, and Zip Coon was this dandy from the city, and he would be dressed to the teeth, and the compatriot in these minstrel shows was a fellow by the name of Jim Crow, who was the country bumpkin. And so these two would play off of one another.
Well, I had a rendition of Turkey in the Straw also, so go ahead and play that. It's on Grey Gull by Joe Samuels and Larry Bryars, violin and piano.
Oh, that should be interesting.
And I don't know what year it would have been, but it does say on here, use steel needles. Change needle every time.
All right. That would get to be kind of a pain.
Don't use no cactus needles.
You know, you mentioned that, John Lewis was showing me he had like a pill bottle with actual cactus thorn needles and then bamboo ones, and he said he had sharpeners where they used to sharpen the bamboo ones.
You can still buy, I don't know about cactus, you can still buy bamboo needles.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow.
And if you can't buy them, we have plenty of cactus if you need them.
Yeah.
My wife will be very appreciative if I do.
Come pluck those things.
That's more interesting.
Better going
Modulator.
Have to do something to break up the monotony.
Some minor stuff in there too. This guy sounds more like an Irish fiddler to me. Has that Irish sound.
Does sound a little Irish.
This is good.
Let's have a turkey in the straw theme sometime. I've got a Berliner from 1896, a turkey in the straw. It's hard to listen to.
Actually, I hope you don't even be playing turkey in the straw anymore. You know, he's just like typical Irish medleys, you know, where they do 3 tunes in a row.
3 tunes that you can only tell the difference by the tone.
And they change key too.
They should have like an embossment or something. They have paper labels. Oh, yeah. Well, they have, I think they did have embossments.
So there's some tunes where they'll change the 4 chord from the major to the minor.
He's very creative.
I've seen pictures.
No, that's turkey in the straw. So he went back to like a jazz house, he went back to the head and you play the basic to end it.
It's just hard to believe somebody put so much effort into that song.
It's a catchy note, everybody knows it. Hey, that was good.
I think that was good because it reminded me, and then Dan reminded me. Can you bring your Berliner? I know you said it doesn't play, but I did some quick calculations in my head. You said 1896? 18 years before that, when Billy the Kid and his gang lost in Lincoln County and they fled, they grabbed ammunitions and a fiddle. One of their members, George Cole, I think, or his cousin Frank, played the fiddle. And you always, back in those days, anybody that had a fiddle was the most popular guy in the neighborhood. And when they fled, they went to Fort Sumner, and they hung out there for quite a while. And wherever they ended up, the first thing they would do would have a dance. And the fiddler would get out, the Hispanic fiddlers would come, and they'd have a party. And the kid's favorite song, and he called it the gallina, the turkey, because he'd call, but it was turkey in the straw. And when Dick played that, that's kind of an archaic version I'm listening to. Okay. I'm thinking, yeah, I could see Billy the Kid dancing to that song, but I'd love to hear 1896 version of it. So yeah, that'd be great. Carl?
Well, I'm kind of split on what to play, so I'll put it up for the vote. You know, hearing all the O-down stuff, I brought one down here that's Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys, The End of the Line, which was features Johnny Gimble, who's like one of the great fiddle players around. He's no longer with us, but he was, you know, like unbelievably talented, and he was on a million records because he played with Bob Wills for 10 years, but after that he went to Nashville and was on everybody's records as a studio session guy, and he ended up in the Country Music Hall of Fame. But the guy could flat out play jazz if he wanted to, and
Who was that?
Johnny Gimble.
Oh, Johnny Gimble, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a friend of mine, he used to have a camp,
Taos.
in Taos, yeah, went there, yeah.
And
And you know, Johnny Gimble could sing too. I have an album of
well,
his where
he sings on this one and wrote the song, and he plays a 5-string fiddle.
And
which
you know,
is-
also Carl, in his later years, he played with a plastic bow, if you can believe that.
Oh, I believe anything about him, but to top it off, he was just a really nice, down-to-earth person. Even though, you know, he played with the Joe Venuti's of the world, and all the bunch of greats. He would he'd play in your jam if you had one going on. I mean, he was just very personable and didn't put on any airs. But the other one I was thinking of is Bamboozlin' the Bassoon by Joe Venuti's Blue 4, which is really kind of a nice one, featuring Venuti, Lang, and Drombauer, and Heitung plays the piano.
Nobody plays bassoon, you said it was a bassoon?
Well, they're
It's a bass saxophone.
but
Yeah, it sounds a lot like it.
Drombauer does.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays it.
Yeah, and Trombauer and Venuti and Lang wrote some tunes together, yeah.
Yeah. So, what does everybody want to hear?
Play him back.
Johnny Gimble.
Gimble?
I'm good, we're always good with Johnny Gimble.
I was playing a little guitar, but I had no idea of swing or jazz or anything. And that he was, somebody said he was running for his camping house,
And
learning to swing guitar.
just a warning, put your seatbelts on.
And then when I was
When
ready to go,
it starts out real
he was no
standard,
longer
but
there, was too ill.
towards the end of the
Maybe
record,
his son or somebody was
Johnny turns loose and
I never
starts
really went.
getting a
A
little
few years
crazy.
later, I sort of figured out how to play swing chords.
And you know, when Merle Haggard was in the Texas Playboys, Johnny Gimble taught Haggard how to play fiddle.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done a bunch of things.
Yes, yes. Well, you better start stepping on to the end of about the end of the line.
True love it has been until now, dear.
Yes, Johnny.
They tell me that true love is fine, but right now to me it's as plain as can be. You've come to the end of the line. You thought I'd be left broken-hearted. You thought you would leave me way behind. Well, I paid my fare. You got more than your share. Get off at the end of the line.
could, I don't know.
Is that Bob Wills?
Some of it could have been Johnny.
Yeah, or was that Johnny's?
I would say it was probably Johnny, because it sounded like he was singing in unison with playing it some of the time. But it didn't
Yeah,
happen.
no, he,
Who's on the flip, what's on the flip side of that?
it's anything. And with a vocal by Jack Lord, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I mean, it's a, you know, this one side just really pops. They're really going for it.
It's a good fiddle playing.
And like, I think Johnny heard Slam start, and you know, it just adapted to the violin, and, you know, singing scat over it, and but Bob was really into it, and you could tell that he'd had some white lightning in his blood, which he usually did, but sometimes at that point in his career he had more than others. But I mean, he was really feeling it.
Tough act to follow. I'm trying to stay in the country vein here, but I don't have any country records. But this is Banjo Blues with Peg Leg Hall and Eddie Anthony. So it's called Banjo Blues. It's got
This
a lot
is
of
a solo album of Johnny that I have. I'd rather be sitting right under the X in Texas, because Texas is the place I really want to be. Kind of like, what's that George Strait, all my exes live in Texas, so I hang my hat in Tennessee.
Do we have a brush for the clean the needle?
Oh, a specific one for the needle? No.
Good blow on it.
Oh, you probably wouldn't like it, Andy, but I tend to use Chinese like this.
Oh yeah, that's good to see. Because I just noticed we've been playing a lot of dirty records.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we always try to get one dirty one in.
This looks like it was more than one dirty record.
That's been some blues and I'm feeling all blue, lean over.
Texas Hambone Blues got that same line, the blues ain't nothing but a good man feeling bad.
Big leg owl.
Has that got turkey buzzard on the other side?
Turkey buzzard.
Yeah, it does. Turkey
I
buzzard.
found a copy of that in McAllister, Oklahoma one time, and always loved that turkey buzzard. So.
Yeah, yeah, but I thought, because we were playing more like country stuff, I thought that was a good country sound.
I was wondering what that said, because there's the state pen. Big Mac, that's where I found this record.
Big Mac.
Yeah, McAllister State Penitentiary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I apologize, first of all, I played this recently, I think, a couple or 3 spins ago. I was real proud to get this one. It's the Ukrainska Orchestra Michala Tomasa, which some of his records came out as Michael Thomas. And you would think you were getting an Irish record. This one is called Pidirska, which means foothills. It's just dance music. It's very repetitive, but it's energetic. I don't know, just the energy of it. It's kind of astounding.
Squirrel alert.
Squirrel alert. Did she say? Yeah.
What is the time? This is like 9:04 or something. I mean, what's the timing?
There's this one part in here, I don't know, I don't know what it is about this one part. It's like he plays about 10 notes in a half a second here. This is one part. I'm always doing both. Right here.
Not too many rests.
That's crazy to me. Oh, you can't say the guy didn't have energy. Those, if Ukrainian men and women were dancing to this stuff, those Ukrainian women were kind of tough, I think.
They'd be in pretty good shape to do that.
They're hot footing it to something like that.
You tap dance to it.
This one likes being in the sleeve.
So which one, Todd?
This is another composition by Venuti, Lang, and Trumbauer. It's called Apple Blossoms. Why is it not happy? No. It's Richard's. 1929. Now listen for the bassoon in this.
This is part of my collection on a CD of Lang and Venuti. These were like done in one session in New York City, I think.
1929.
Piano. Todd.
Yes, sir.
Do you know who was on piano?
Lenny, what's his name? Houghton?
Heighton?
Yeah.
That's a cool piano word, wasn't it? Yeah, offbeat.
So you know my favorite bassoon joke is, what's the difference between an oboe and a bassoon?
What is
The
the
bassoon burns longer.
I'm gonna play another one of Richard's Django Reinhardt and Stefan Grappelli records. This is on French Decca. I don't know when it's from.
What's the song?
St. Louis Blues.
I guess it says probably 35 years ago.
Okay. I love this song.
Which song?
St. Louis Blues.
Oh.
I've heard of that.
By the Quintet of the Hot Club de France.
Matter of fact, I was listening to a more recent version of Grappelli playing it this morning.
Oh, what?
With John Etheridge playing a long guitar solo.
We had talked about Sven Asmussen, and I still haven't heard back from that guy in Copenhagen. But I have an album of Stefan Grappelli and the French, or not French, but Danish jazz violinist Sven Asmussen.
Yeah, and then Grisman recorded an album with him called Swingin' with Sven.